Is there a kind of advertising that you remember seeing a lot on social media?
And I usually just see clothing ads like every couple of stories when you're swiping on Instagram. It's usually like clothing or like the newest movie coming out.
I see a lot of sports stuff, but that's just probably because it's targeted towards me.
Yeah, I see a lot of clothes stuff.
I've seen like a lot of fast food ads, like Uber Eats ads, like menu log ads.
Makeup as well, like Mecca as well, like all over Instagram and Facebook.
What about advertising for alcohol? Do you remember seeing any of that?
Maybe a little bit, I'm not sure.
Bit, not a lot. I feel like sometimes it pops up here and there, but I don't really focus too much on it.
I get quite a few of like Dan Murphy's ads. I don't know why. I get some of those sometimes.
Social media is full of advertising, and we all know it. But some of it has researchers like Catherine Backholer worried.
It is about trying to understand just how much young people will see online in terms of the marketing of alcohol, junk foods, gambling, vapes and tobacco.
So she recruited some young Australians and got them to record the entire screen of their devices while they spent time online.
It's really about young people going online as they normally would, and then we analyse that with an artificial intelligence system to understand just how much harmful marketing young people are exposed to.
The participants of the study were divided into 3 age groups: 8 to 13, 14 to 17, and 18 to 25. The youngest group didn't see any alcohol ads, but the oldest group saw an average of 7 ads online each day, and the 14 to 17-year-olds saw an average of 6 alcohol ads each day. One teenager in the study, they saw as many as 14 alcohol ads over a 2-hour period.
That's really concerning.
I don't think that alcohol should be advertised to minors that much.
I think it's beyond the threshold of viewers that should, be exposed to such a topic.
So these are ads that have actually been paid and targeted at young people, despite industry saying that they don't deliver alcohol ads to young people. I mean, even the fact that in this small sample we see targeted alcohol ads to people under the age of 18 is really worrying.
See, Australia has rules on when, where, and to whom alcohol can be advertised. These are managed by ABAC. That's Alcohol Beverages Advertising Code. They set the key standards for advertising of alcohol by defining what kind of content can reasonably be advertised and how. But ABAC is self-regulated, which some say limits its effectiveness.
It's a situation where alcohol companies set their own rules and then there are no consequences for breaches, which mean that nothing happens if things go wrong.
In addition to ABAC, alcohol advertising also needs to comply with things like the Australian Association of National Advertisers Code of Ethics, the Australian New Zealand Food Standards Code, TV and radio specific codes of practice, and each state and territory also has its own alcohol promotion requirements.
If you looked at these different papers that exist around these schemes that the alcohol industry sets themselves, it's all about protecting kids. So it says that these ads aren't meant to appeal to children, they're not meant to be in times and places where children are.
And so advertising for alcohol isn't supposed to be presented to people under 18. And, well, with good reason. These days, the dangers of alcohol consumption are pretty well understood. Alcohol is a drug that can increase the risk of many serious health problems, including 7 different types of cancer. Almost 6,000 Australians die from alcohol-related disease each year. And although research has found that alcohol consumption has actually gone down amongst young people over the last few years, dangerous drinking is an ongoing problem in Australia.
And Australia, when compared to other countries, drinks above average the amount of alcohol. And what that means then is that alcohol also causes a lot of harm.
Well, I think obviously the drinking culture in Australia is sort of, if you don't drink, you're a bit weird.
And researchers like Catherine are worried that exposure to alcohol advertising, especially at young ages, could have significant consequences.
Yes, so there's good studies now that show when young people are exposed to alcohol, especially when it's over and over, which you see in the online environment, that leads to brand awareness and product familiarity and earlier initiation of alcohol, more risky alcohol drinking, and that leads to other sorts of harmful health outcomes.
And social media in particular is a dangerous space because of targeted advertising.
We know now that by the time a child reaches their mid-teens, they'll have more than 70 million data points collected on them by companies. And so all of that data is used to market to people. They have data on how people feel, so whether young people are feeling vulnerable, whether they're feeling anxious. They have interests tagged alongside young people's names, including alcohol and gambling. And they use all of this information to target to people, including young people, for these harmful products.
Another new study has looked at the alcohol advertisements that young adults see and how often.
So what we did is we got a sample of 125 university students to scroll through their Facebook or Instagram for 30 minutes and screenshot any alcohol advertisements that they found within that period. So what we found is that on average, participants were encountering an alcohol ad every 2 minutes and 43 seconds, which is quite quick, especially when they were only collecting data for 30 minutes. We also found that 5 of those participants who did encounter those ads were under the legal drinking age in Australia, which is 18. For us, the 2 biggest things that this study revealed was that people who are under the legal drinking age are being recommended and shown alcohol advertising, and also the frequency with which all of these young people were coming across alcohol advertising. So it goes to show that the marketing is clearly not age restricted as it should be.
So although there are already many rules around how alcohol can be advertised, researchers say they're not working.
The way that the online environment has been set up is not the kind of online environment we want, and something has to change. And that's where, government needs to come in, because the current model is driven by, astronomical profits and shareholder returns.
It is at the moment largely self-regulated by alcohol companies. So that's probably the biggest thing that does need to change. There needs to be some sort of independent body that can make sure that we're not marketing to underage people and also not marketing so frequently to young people.
We need strong laws and we need good enforcement. So rules need to be in place, and then the behaviours of these companies need to be monitored. And if they break these rules, then they need to see real and meaningful penalties.
Well, it should probably be somewhat controlled, especially for people under 18.
I think it's the same with gambling as well. A lot of the gambling ads, I think, have had restrictions placed on, and moving forward, maybe that's what needs to happen with alcohol as well.
And even the government can probably suggest some new laws and whatnot in terms of advertisements and marketing social media towards teenagers.
I think restrictions on what can be viewed for certain ages and what can be seen on feeds.
Yeah, 100%.
Really needs to be put in place. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.